Welcome back, everyone. This is Jaronitis, beginning episode 5 of Feed the Beast Unleashed. Today, we're going to be covering quite a few things, so let's make this as quick as possible. Well, let's cover things as quick as possible, because we've got a lot to do. Alright, so as promised before in the previous episode, we're going to start out by getting a semi-automated mining machine started. So if you remember last episode, we made the mining turtle, and we got him ready to go. Now, with the mining turtle, we're going to require some coal. We're going to go ahead and just get a whole stack together. We're also going to need some torches. We're going to get 2 stacks of torches together. And then, of course, in the same chest, we're going to need some chests, which is why I made so many before. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go down here, and we're going to get this started. We're going to pick a generally untouched area, so it'll give you guys a good idea of how this is going to work. Let's see, let's go, you know what, let's go shallow. I don't want to go too deep, there's too much stuff deep. There's all kinds of chasms and, well, okay, there's a lot of chasms here too. You know what, this'll work. We're just going to use right here, it's a good place to start. And immediately I find a chasm. Well, not exactly the most desirable situation, but we're going to run with it anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the turtle here. And remember, he's a mining turtle, so he's capable of digging blocks. And then we're going to put a couple of torches here so we don't get interrupted by a creeper. Alright, when we right-click on the turtle, it brings up the turtle access menu. It gives you all the slots that you can put stuff in, and it makes so you can program different things. Now, I'm not going to explain exactly how turtles work at this point. You can program them to do almost anything you want them to. So for now, we're just going to go with a program that I already have set up. A good friend of mine named Max Rebo put this together, and it's still a work in progress. He's constantly making changes to it to make it a little better and then a little better. So what we're going to do is, through this interface right here, we can actually connect to the internet. As long as you have an online connection, obviously. And what we're going to do is first we're going to learn to type. We're going to paste bin, and of course it'd be good if I put the E in there. We're going to do a paste bin get. Now this is the code to download the mining program that Max has written. There is a newer version that he's working on, but he's left this version available for download specifically because I asked him to leave this available since I was going to be giving this code out. So, now when you're typing this, the capital letters and the little letters do matter. So you have to type it exactly the same as I'm typing it here. So we're going to go to paste bin, we're going to get this program, and this program is marked by the code that I just typed, the lowercase w-e, uppercase u, lowercase a, k-w-e-m, anyway, that you see on screen, that is the code that accesses paste bin and downloads the specific program. So then you add a space, and you're going to then give it the name, the program name that you want. In my case, I'm going to name it Max. So when I hit enter, it's going to connect to paste bin. It says it succeeded, and it downloaded it as Max. So now, if I do a dir, which is a directory assistance, and hit enter, it's going to show me that all programs in the random memory is Max. So Max is the name of the program, and so when I want to run Max, we're going to type Max. This is going to run the program. Now you can name it anything you want. When you put in the code to get it, I could have put in Jaronitis, I could have put in Digger, I could have put in World Destroyer for those who want to use this in its largest scale. But I chose Max because it's quick, it's easy to type, and it's Max Rebo who wrote it for me. So now we've got in Max, we're going to hit enter and run this program. So it's going to bring up the starting program. Now, it can be run 2 different ways. It can be run with or without ender chests, and later on when we get to the nether, I will make it into an ender chest version, and I'll show you how that works at that time. For now, we're not using ender chests, so we're just going to focus on how this functions without ender chests. So, turtle bottom row inventory with regular chests, we're going to put chests, and this is the bottom row from left to right. Chest, torches, torches, and then coal. Now, this turtle is going to move around, and he's going to be mining while he's moving. He's going to use the coal to fuel himself to keep himself moving. He's going to use the chests to empty the stuff that he digs out into, and he's going to lay the torches down so that when I come back to check on him, I don't get blown up by a ton of creepers. So he will light the area that he's digging in, that way it doesn't cause a problem with them. So, once we have all that set up, as we do down here, it's going to ask us for what tunnel length do we want. So how far out do we want him to go? In this case, I'm going to put the tunnel length of 50. So he's going to cut forward 50 blocks. Okay? How many tunnels? We're going to say we want 5 tunnels. Okay? Now, each tunnel is out to 50 blocks and back. So it's actually a 2-wide tunnel that he's going to make. So this being the case, we're going to cut 10 bricks out. 50 long by 10 bricks to either the left or the right. And speaking of this, now it's going to say how many rows do we want to skip per cycle. So if I want to cut an entire open room, I'll put 0. If I want him to strip mine for me, I'll put down 2. That way he'll cut 2 rows down, he'll skip 2 rows, and then come back, and then he'll go down 2 rows again. So he'll leave 2 rows in between. In this case, I'm not going to skip any. And he'll skip as many rows as you want. I mean, you can have him dig 2 tunnels down and then skip 50 rows. I mean, I don't see why you would, but you can. So I'm going to skip 0 rows for the sake of this just being a big open room. Now, it's going to ask, when he reaches the end and he goes to go to the next row, do you want him to go to the left or to the right? So from where I'm starting him, I want him to go to the right, so we're going to put in 2 to select going to the right. Now, he's going to ask how many tiers. Tiers is how many ups or downs you want him to go. If you select 0, if you select 1, he will just do the 1. If you select 0, he won't do anything. He'll just say, okay, I'm done, because you told him not to go anywhere. 1 tier is just going out and back, however many times you told him to. 2 tiers, which means he'll go out and back, and then he'll either go up and can do the same pattern again, or he'll go down and do the same pattern again. So we're going to do 2 tiers so that he cuts up into the ceiling a little bit. I don't want to do 3 tiers because then I won't be able to reach some of the chests that he's going to drop. So we're going to go 2 tiers. And do we want the tiers to go up or down? Currently, for the torch functionality, we want him to go up. Max is still working on making him place the torches correctly when you tell him to go down. So right now, the up function is the only one that works correctly as far as torch placing goes. So we're going to go with up. Okay, start point, dig up, down, how many blocks? Now, this basically means if you're up at the top of the world and you don't want him to start at the top of the world, you can look and see on your map how far up you are, and you say, well, I'm at level 64, but I want him to dig at level 4. So at this point, start point, dig up or down, how many blocks? You would say 60 blocks to bring him down, and then the next question it would ask would be, do you want him to dig up or dig down before he starts? Since we're not going to dig up or down, we're going to put 0. And this will skip over the next question. So, now asks, am I using ender chests? This is very important because if you aren't using ender chests, then it's going to mess him up if you tell him that you are. If you tell him that you're not using ender chests and you are, that's also going to mess him up because he'll leave your ender chests behind. But I'll explain that later when we start using ender chests. In this case, we're not using ender chests, so we're going to put in 0. Now, this is the last question. Make sure everything's in place before you answer this one, because when I hit enter this time, he's going to take off and start working. So, we've got everything set up here. We got the chests and the torches and the coal. So that means he is ready to rock, and we are going to hit enter, and he's starting to work. The first thing he did was add fuel. He placed the torch. For some reason, he places 2 torches at the beginning. We still haven't figured that out yet. It still functions. Anyway, so now he's going to dig. And he walked away from me, so I lost track of him. So now he's going to keep digging out that way. Now, the only thing that's going to stop him is if he runs into a monster. He can't progress any further if something's in his way other than a brick. So if he runs into a monster, he'll stop. Or if he runs out of a loaded chunk. So if he gets too far away, he'll walk out of a loaded chunk, and then he'll lose his program. So turtles have to stay loaded if you want them to continue to function. So I'm not going to go very far while he's digging, so he should maintain his closeness. Now, he's programmed to every 10 blocks drop a torch. As you can see, every 10 blocks he's dropped a torch. So that's 10 blocks there, 20 blocks here, And he's heading on up to 30 blocks. Now we're going to watch him until he reaches 50 and turns around. That way you can see how he works. Now, there's the next one. So that's 10, 20, 30. So now if we access him while he's digging, you'll see that his inventory is starting to fill up with stuff. And he even found some coal. Now, if you see, he's got a torch in his inventory right here. When he fills up, he will scan through his stuff, see if there's anything in here that he can use to keep himself going. Oh, cool, an abandoned mine shaft. I didn't know we had one of these. Anyway, he'll see if there's anything he can use. In this case, he'll take this torch, he'll put it with his other torches, and then he'll empty the stuff into a chest. In this case, he'll actually take some of that coal, and he'll put that coal into his other coal so he can continue to function. So as he's digging and he finds coal, he will put the coal in with his other stuff in order to keep himself going. So he will continue to function until he either finishes his programming, or he runs out of coal, or something of that nature. Or runs out of chests, runs out of coal, runs out of torches. He's programmed that if he does run out of coal, torches, or chests, that he'll just stop and he'll put up a message that says, hey, I'm out of coal, or hey, I'm out of torches, or hey, I'm out of chests. You know, give me some torches, give me some coal, or give me some chests, and then he'll continue. So if he were to run out, he will actually say, hey, I need some of this stuff, and he'll just wait there, and then when you come over to him, give him the stuff he needs, and hit enter, he will resume his program as if he hadn't stopped. So there you have it. He is functioning. We will come back here in a minute, and we'll see how much progress he's made. In the meantime, we made a couple, well actually, I made a single engine to make power at the end of last episode. In last episode, I mentioned that we were going to be making more engines because more engines equals more power, which is good. So I went ahead and duplicated the recipe and made a total of 5 engines. Now, these engines are all facing in weird directions, and we don't like that, so we need to be able to rotate them. To rotate an engine, and to do a lot of stuff with power, you need a wrench. Now, I've already got the search here showing for wrench, and it turns out that, wow, there's a whole bunch of wrenches. Okay, there's really only a couple that we're going to worry about, but for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go with this wrench right here. This is your basic Buildcraft wrench, and Buildcraft is the kind of power we're going to be playing with, so that's what we're going to make. We got the stone gear, which I've showed you how to make before, and then we got iron ingots. But in case you guys don't remember how to make the stone gear, we're going to click that, and it shows you that a stone gear is made from a wood gear surrounded by cobblestone, and a wood gear is just a bunch of sticks. Alright, so that explains how that's going to work. Now, what we're going to do, since I already had this planned out, I already have this ready. So we're going to take this, and... oops. I forgot to convert these. Okay, so we're going to take this, and this, and this, add this, and look, we've got a wrench. Now, while we're at it, we're going to make another wrench. Okay, we're going to use a force gear, and we're going to use force ingots. Now, I'll get into how and why this is later, but I'm going to make it while I'm here, because it's going to be useful very shortly. For the force wrench, you need, as I showed you, the force gear and the force ingots. Now, you may ask yourself, how do we get force gears and force ingots? Well, this is how. The force gear is force ingots surrounding a stone gear. And the force ingot is 1 force gem, which we found a whole bunch of already. And it's 1 force gem and 2 iron ingots, and that turns the iron ingots into force ingots. So, that's pretty simple to do. Now that we got that out of the way, let's move on. Okay, so, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how to do some other stuff. First thing we want to do is we don't want to have to walk back and forth with a bucket. We don't want to have to constantly be trying to fill these things with energy, or with water, to continue making our energy. So, what we need to do is to make something that is going to fill them for us. So, we are going to make an aqueous accumulator. Now, in this case, aqueous accumulator is this recipe right here. Now, I've already made some machine frames, but I'll show you how they're made. A piece of gold with glass and iron. I made a bunch of them because we're going to use a bunch of them. Second thing we're going to need is a pneumatic servo. Now, I don't have any of those made, but I know I'm going to need it, so we're going to go ahead and make it. Redstone, glass, and iron, which I happen to have pretty much in hand. So, we're going to make 2 of these because we probably will need more than one, and I did this wrong. There we go. So we're going to use these, so I'm making extras. So now we have the aqueous accumulator as a bucket, machine frame, glass, tin, and the pneumatic servo. So, where's my tin? Here's my tin. Here's the pneumatic servo. Here's the glass, the machine frame, and the bucket. Yay, we have our first aqueous accumulator. So, the other thing we're going to need is some waterproofing, because the aqueous accumulator is going to pump water through piping. But the piping that we're going to make here in just a second can't just normally accept water, it just doesn't take water. You have to waterproof it or it'll leak everywhere, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here in the plants and food and stuff. Your basic waterproofing is going to be made with cactus. You cook the cactus into green dye, and then you put the green dye into the crafting grid, and then that makes it into waterproofing. And if I can figure, did I not take the cactus? Nope, one space too high. So we're going to go ahead and cook that, and then we're going to pull out some of this stuff that I was cooking up in preparation of making a couple other machines. I can see that this episode is not going to finish the way I'm thinking it will, and that we're not going to get everything shown and done. So we're probably going to run into 2 episodes for this particular part of things. Anyway, so while we're waiting for that stuff to cook up, we're going to go over here and we're going to rotate these engines. Okay, it's not going to let us rotate them the way I want to at the moment, so we'll have to do this a different way here in just a second. So for starters, we're going to dig behind these, because we want to supply them with water. The aqueous accumulator is going to make water for us and pump it up into these, but we still need a place for the accumulator to call home. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a spot right here. I don't think we need to move back any more spaces. We're just going to choose this as the spot. And we're going to place a bucket of water there. And then we're going to take another bucket of water, and we're going to put it here. That's going to make this an infinite water source. As you can see, I can pull from the center and it turns back into source blocks. So now we're going to place the aqueous accumulator in the center of that, and when we look at the accumulator, it's filling with water, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. So now that it's got that full of water, let's go check and see if our cactus is done. It is. Now we're going to put this in here, and it's going to make pipe waterproofing. Now, this probably isn't going to be enough pipe waterproofing for starts, but we're going to run with it. So let's see. We want to use... I'm going to make some gold pipes. I like the idea of gold pipes, and I seem to have quite a bit of gold. I've gotten very lucky when it comes to that particular side of things. So, how do you make pipes? Well, what we do is we take some glass, and we put stuff on either side. Now, this can be made in a whole bunch of different ways. There's gold, there's stone, there's wood, there's obsidian pipes. It goes a long way. I'll show you more about that here in a little bit. So we're not going to need that many, but we're going to make 16. It's more than we're going to need, but we're going to make that for now. So then you take the pipe, and you put the waterproofing, and it makes waterproof pipes. So now, we're going to take the waterproof pipes, and we're going to hook them up to the aqueous accumulator. Now, as we do this, you'll see that they're going to start filling. But look, every time I try to right-click, it accesses the aqueous accumulator instead of placing the pipe. If we shift and then right-click, it'll place the pipe instead of just accessing the accumulator. So we can't access the pipe itself, so we can actually just right-click on this now to make it work up. So we're going to click on that, and look, it's pumping water into the engine. Now, it'll continue to do that as necessary until it fills up, and when the engine is full, the pipe will show full as well. And the aqueous accumulator, which is currently draining and refilling, will just stay refilled. So we're going to hook up more of these pipes so we can fill up more of the engines, just like that. And we may just have enough. Yep, we actually have exactly enough. That works out nicely. So now, when we come around here, we can look, and the engines are filling with water. Alrighty, so now we can put coal in all of these engines, and then we can put levers on all these engines, and then we can turn them all on at once if we want to. But right now it would be fairly pointless to turn them all on because we don't really have a whole lot of stuff that we're going to be working on it with. Alright, now if anybody's taken notice, some of you may have not, but if you look in my hotbar, you'll notice that I have a couple of different items now. In my hotbar, I made a new hammer, I reinforced it, I added all the lapis to it that it needed, but you also see that it says in green, auto repair. Now this is one of the main reasons I was making some of this stuff, was that I could add auto repair to some of my tools. So I already have auto repair because I happened to get the items that we're going to make from a random encounter. But I'll go into that here in just a second. So what we want to do, now that we have the engines capable of working, we need something for them to put their power into. And we also need to have something that is going to make the items that I used to get my tools to auto repair. So what we need is a liquid transposer. Oops, not tar. Okay, so here we have a liquid transposer. This is what we're going to use to make things work even better. Now, see, I knew there was... Oh, well, no, I can make this work. I can work with this. Anyway, so the liquid transposers, as shown, here's that machine frame. Again, I made a bunch of them specifically so that you could use it in this way. I knew I was going to be using a bunch. Anyway, so we need a bucket, machine frame, glass, copper, and a redstone reception coil. Redstone reception coil we don't have any of yet, but I'm prepared to make them. The redstone reception coil is simply a gold ingot and redstone. So we're going to go ahead and make that right now, since it's what we're missing. A gold ingot and redstone. So we're going to make a couple of these because over the career of this series I'm going to be using probably a couple dozen of them, but for now we're going to make 10 because I don't really want to use up all my gold at this point. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and make what we're making. Put this here and that there, these here, and then the copper to finish it off. Alrighty, so now we have a liquid transposer. So we're going to get that out of there. We're going to replace this, and we're going to go over here and we're going to place it. Now, because the liquid transposer uses liquid to transpose onto things, I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put it right here because then that pipe is going to hook into it. And now, if we look in here, it's filling this up too. So that works out nicely because I didn't have any more waterproofing. So this makes this function. Now, the thing is, we need power to get into it, and this engine's not facing the right way to do that. So now that it has something beneath it that it can hook in to give power, when we right-click it with the wrench, it turns down, and that way it's going to pump power into that specific machine. So we're going to break this, we're going to take this over here, put that there, and now we need some coal. Alrighty, coal. We put the coal in the miscellaneous junk section. Okay, so we're going to take this over here. We're going to put it in here, and we're going to flip the lever. Now, as you see, the fire's burning. We're building up heat, and when it reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it will start producing power. Now, inside the liquid transposer, we have this bar right here. It shows that it can hold 4,800 Minecraft joules. That is its internal battery. It can fill that internal battery, and that internal battery will not drain itself out. It will maintain that as long as you're not using the power. So, as you can see, we've got a functioning liquid transposer. Now, why did we want a liquid transposer, you might ask? Well, for now, we're not going to tell you, because it needs to build up some power. Now, the reason that we're going around with all this is because water, well, actually here, I will show it to you this way. We are going to make a ball of moss. Now, a ball of moss is what is used to add to your tools to give them the auto repair status. So here's a ball of moss. Now, a ball of moss is mossy stone bricks of any kind. Stone brick, mossy stone, pretty much any of the stone that has green on it. 9 of them makes a ball of moss. Now, if you've been following along with my episodes, you'll know that I happened to find a dungeon, and dungeons have mossy stone. And therefore, I used that mossy stone from the dungeon to make the balls of moss that I used to put the auto repair on my stuff. Now, if you're following along, then you can follow over to where the dungeon is and get your mossy stone. But, let's assume that you haven't found a dungeon, and sometimes they're hard to find. So, if we don't have a dungeon available where we can just take this stuff out of the world, we need to make it. Now, you can take moss and put it on the cobblestone to make mossy cobblestone, but that's not what we want to do. We want to take the mossy cobblestone and get the moss off of it. So what we're going to do is liquid transposer takes liquid and puts it on cobblestone and makes mossy stone. So that's why we made this. So we're going to take some cobblestone out of my barrel here. Why did it take 43? Oh, because I already had some. Okay. I was about to say, that didn't make any sense. So we're going to take some of this cobblestone. We're going to go over here, and we're going to put the cobblestone into the blue section. Now, if we watch, we'll see this starting to go, and that's the progress bar. So it is putting the water onto the onto the cobblestone, and we're going to make mossy cobblestone. So that can run for a while. It's using up a good bit of power, but we're also producing power, so that's fine. We can leave this run. So since we can leave this running, we're going to take a minute, and we're going to go, and we're going to do the Great Diamond Collection. If you've been watching, you'll know that I had a small mishap. Not that anyone would really want to remember such a thing or laugh about it. Yeah, nobody wants to laugh about that. And since the last mishap was kind of a big deal, we're going to go and we're going to fix things up, and we're going to get me some more diamonds. Just a second here, I'm going to put all this stuff away, and I'm also going to show you why we made this force wrench. So for now, just to be safe, we're going to put some stuff away, because yeah, last time didn't go so well. I'm going to assume that I'm not going to make that mistake again, but yeah, we're going to be careful just the same, because, ouch. All those diamonds. What a horrible thing to lose. Alrighty, now that we've put away most of our stuff, let's go down. Now, for those of you who are watching and want to know more, now, if you know, last time I showed you guys the coordinates for where the diamonds I found were. And since I'm a nice guy and burned up all the last diamonds that I found, we're going to do it again. Between episodes, I've been doing quite a bit of mining. Hey, wait a minute. Hey, look, he's digging. We'll be back in a minute, and we'll see how far you've gotten then. But as you can see, he's doing quite well. Alright, we're running out of time in this episode, so we're going to bust down through here. I will probably edit out a couple things if I can, if my editing software is working. So anyway, when we came down here, there was diamonds all around this area, and I burned them all because I'm a genius. But since then, I've gone around looking, and I've widened this out quite a bit. If you look back in the videos, you'll see that there's a lot more here than there was. So, I now have... Did I go very far on this one? No, okay, I ended that one. Alright, so I have uncovered some more diamonds. Now, for the sake of speed, I'm not going to talk much about this. We're just going to go through and mine the diamonds. If you want to see, you can look at the coordinates on the mini-map as I'm going. So if you are following along, you can come over here and get these for yourself. Now, I cut several different pathways, so we're going to be doing this a good little bit for a minute here, because there is a good many diamonds to get. I'm curious as to how many there are. I didn't count how many blocks there are, so I don't know how many I'm getting multiplied. You know, your results may vary from my own, but, you know, just depends on how well fortune works for you. So far, I've been very fortunate. Haha. How well fortune works for you, how fortunate, get it? Yeah, I know it was bad. Anyway, I've been very fortunate for my fortune to work very well, and has provided me with quite a few diamonds. More than I would have normally gotten. And okay, well, yeah, that ends this side of the diamond gathering. It's a glitch in the world. I could log out and log back in, and that would load itself back. But for now, we're just going to go the other way. There are more diamonds down there, but I guess you just don't get to see them. Alrighty. Well, so far we're over a stack of diamonds. As you can see in the bottom right of my hotbar, it shows that we have a stack. I'm pretty certain we have more than just that stack, but we're not going to assume at this point. We're just going to go and get some more, and then we'll do a final count here in just a minute. As you can see, I found quite a few areas over here, and I've been mining my heart out. And now we have diamonds. All I need is a pool of lava to dive in to make this complete. Nope, not this time. This time we're doing it without the oops. Or, so far anyway. Which, by the way, brings up a very interesting point while I'm doing this. There are a rather disturbingly large amount of diamonds in this map. The fact that I'm running into so many is actually, I'm either extremely lucky or somehow the way this map generated is just a diamond happy map. I don't know, I don't understand. I'm not arguing with it, mind you, but if y'all are following along or playing on this map seed, yeah, it's pretty special. If you don't have the map seed, if you go back to episode 1 of this version, then it shows you that what options I selected and that the seed I typed in was Geranitis. So now it depends on what options you have selected as to whether or not this map generates or not. So if you don't have nether ores on, it doesn't generate this version. If you don't have several other things on, it doesn't generate this version. You have to be very specific as to what you choose. Now here I actually found another dungeon, and I'm showing you this in case you want to find it. I've been up there. I'm not going back up there right now. I just don't have the time. We're already running over. But that's it for diamond gathering for the moment. We got 2 stacks plus 16. There are still more diamonds over the other side, but well, the world decided it didn't want me going there. So that shows you more of the diamonds I found. I'm pretty much going to stop showing you guys diamonds at this point because I'm just not going to be paying that close attention to it. I'm not going to stop and wait and show you guys. And besides, my turtle is going to be doing most of the mining for me. So I'm not going to spend time. I'll set the turtle up to run, and I'll just leave him mining while I'm sleeping or while I'm watching TV or pretty much whatever. But speaking of the turtle, let's go check in on him. Alrighty, we are on the second tier now. When he finished, as you remember, I told him to go 50 blocks out, and I told him to do 5 rows at 2 sections per row, so we should have 10 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 5 tunnels at 2 rows per tunnel, and then we told him to do 2 tiers as well. So when he finished this section, he went up and it was chopping through here. Now he should be right there, and I stopped him. I ran too far away gathering diamonds, and I disrupted his program because I ran out of a loaded area. Okay, well, next episode, we're going to cover chunk loaders. That way this doesn't happen. As you can see, this is some of the stuff that he's mined, that he put down. He still has some of the stuff he was mining there. He was emptying his inventory when I brought him out of the area he was in. But anyway, as he mines up and he fills up, he dumps it all into chests. And then we have the chests here that we can just go pick up the stuff from. So that's that. Like I said, next episode, chunk loaders. That's going to keep an area loaded even if you walk away from it. And that way this doesn't happen anymore. We're going to make several more machines that have to do with power and what they use power to do. And we're going to show you how to make better weapons, improved through putting balls of moss on them. As you can see, we're up to 19 mossy stones, and this is going to continue to function. And that's where we're going to be at, and we may even, if time allows, head off to the nether. because there are several things in the Nether that I'm going to need to continue moving forward on my quest for greatness. In any case, thank you all for watching. Y'all have a good day. This is Jeronitis signing off, and remember, spread the gaming, one episode at a time.